So another scientific finding, Joel, in terms of how emotions are contagious, are actually your hormones and your pheromones. And this one, so we know emotions can be spread through chemicals like pheromones in the body. And we've talked about this before. So just as a refresher, we know that some plants do this too, that plants can communicate with each other when they're in danger.
Mhm.
Like, so for instance, there's even, by the way, studies out of Harvard that are on board with this concept that plants communicate to each other. And
Oh
they do
yeah.
it in, yeah, they do it in various ways. One is chemicals that could be released in their leaves.
Mhm.
One of my favorites is the acacia tree. Is that how
Yep.
you would say it?
Yep.
Acacia.
Yeah,
So the
acacia tree.
acacia tree in in
Yeah.
Africa.
The
That
giraffe. Yeah.
Yes. Do you want to tell the story of the giraffe?
Oh, well, for a long time they wondered why do the giraffes always graze into the wind? In other words, they're not going with the wind, they're into the wind. And now they know that when the giraffes are grazing on the acacia leaves, those grazed acacia leaves emit pheromones that is carried on the wind to its neighbors to make their phytochemical compounds make the leaves more bitter. So the giraffes, it's a defensive measure. So the giraffes don't like them as much. And so the giraffes are constantly grazing into the wind, trying to beat the pheromones, changing the phytochemical compound of the leaves before it gets there. If they went downwind, all the leaves would be bitter. By going upwind, and they can, if they go fast enough, they can stay ahead of the pheromones.
I think that's so cool. Like the fact that the plants do it and the fact that that the giraffes figured it out. Like it's just
Yeah.
amazing.
Oh
Right?
yeah.
Well, humans do something really similar. So just one example, when you're stressed, your body releases different chemicals into your sweat than when you're relaxed. And what science is showing is that people around you can pick up on those chemicals in your stress, um, in the stress response through your sweat, even if you're not consciously smelling it. So there was research done, and this was actually way back in 2012, where these researchers found that if they took sweat samples of people who are anxious in other people, they could actually activate a fear response. Like the people weren't even, they didn't see the people, right? They didn't see the anxious people. They just took the sweat from the anxious people and had the other people smell it, and it put them into a fear state, right? So this is the suggestion that there's biochemical basis for emotional contagion. So we have the mirror neurons that contribute to emotional contagion, and now we have a biochemical basis through pheromones, through chemical signals that are saying that there's emotional contagion. And then we have a third way that emotions are contagious. And again, plants do this one too. So we know there's a guy named Edward Farmer out of University of I think he's out of Louisiana. Sorry, of University of out of Switzerland. He's out of Switzerland, and he identified that plants, some of the plants have this voltage based signaling system, like this electrical system, very similar to our nervous system. And so, for instance, when a tree is cut, it sends an electrical signal, just like if a human was wounded, that sends an electrical signal to our brain. They're saying that the plant does something very similar. Um, and researchers have even found that they send out sound, like some plants can emit sound in the roots. It's probably around the frequency of 220 hertz, which is not audible to us. But the point is, they have this electric signal system that's like our nervous system. And we know that humans have this nervous system and this electrical system that generates electromagnetic fields, right? Because we have currents running through our body. So we generate electromagnetic field. It's like a human, kind of like the human equivalent of a Wi-Fi router, right?
Uh-huh.
Um, and so HeartMath Institute has done a lot of research on this. And there's actually scientists, Western trained scientists, who have measured this electromagnetic field coming from the body. It's particularly expansive from the heart space. I've heard that it can go anywhere from 8 feet to 8 meters. So It depends on how coherent your field is, your electromagnetic field. But in the real world, we know that that field can actually affect other people who are around you. So you've heard people saying things like, "Oh, you're killing my vibe," right? Or like we were on the same wavelength, right? Or
Yeah.
did I just date myself? Like, do
Uh,
people not say that anymore?
yeah. Oh
Like,
my. Yeah.
and people will say like, "Oh, I got a weird vibe from them," or you walk into a room and you can tell that people have been fighting, right?
Right.
There's like that vibe, that energy, or people have been laughing and excited, and you can feel that vibe.
Hmm.
So this is so Heart Math Institute has revealed that these emotions, like gratitude and love, they create these strong, coherent electromagnetic patterns in the field, while stress and anger create these incoherent patterns. And those that rhythm, so there's like a heart and a brain rhythm, and if it's in sync, it creates this coherent pattern. If the heart and the brain are not in sync, it will create an incoherent pattern. Okay, those patterns are projected out through your electromagnetic field, and just like physics, it's like, think of it as a wave that comes out from your body. And if you're standing next to somebody else and they have a wave coming out from the body, those waves are going to collide and go back to the physics concepts. They're either going to bring you down, stay neutral, or they're going to bring you up. And so that's a third way now that science, Western science, is actually shown that emotions are actually contagious. So this is in a group dynamic too. And you think about this like with politics, for instance,
Yeah.
that emotions can spread like wildfires. And there's lots of studies. I won't bore you going into them, but there are lots of studies that have highlighted emotional synchronization when you are in a group. And that makes sense because we're meant to be tribal. It is an evolutionary advantage if everybody's in sync with each other, right? So if there's a danger or a threat, run this way, or so on and so